27, 2024. Man, that's what's this you guys. All right, this meeting is posted according to Texas Government Code 551, better known as the Texas Open Meetings Act. I know that from personal knowledge because we had reposted this agenda 3 times last Friday. So we're concerned about that. We have a quorum, commissioners, everybody is here this morning. Thank you, gentlemen. We got a heck of an agenda to get through. And by 8 o'clock this morning, no one has signed up to speak online. Remember, we're holding this meeting in person, and for those that can't attend, we also have an online portion. So either way, we'd like to see if you get a chance to come by, let us know how we're doing, one way or the other. All that being said and done, this time, I'm going to ask Brother to lead the invocation.
Absolutely. Let us pray. Our loving and great Heavenly Father, Lord, we come to you so very thankful that out of all your creation, that even us here, you hear us. So Lord, thank you for your awesomeness and your greatness. Lord, we come to you for your continued blessing upon our great county, Hill County, Lord. Father in heaven, I thank you for the blessing of Judge Lewis and our county commissioners. Lord, I thank you for the blessing of our peace officers and everybody that makes this county go. Lord, I ask that you would continue to guide them and just to give them all the knowledge and wisdom. Lord, I thank you for their experience. Father, I just pray that they would do everything as your good word says in honor of you and as they are doing it for you, Lord. So, Lord, thank you for just their efforts. Lord, I thank you, even though this business meeting is tedious with budget and things like that. Lord, I pray that you would just continue to bless us in how they steward our resources. Lord, I pray that you would be with them in health. Lord, I pray that you would guide them this very morning, that you would be honored and glorified in everything they think and that they say and that they do. And it's in the wonderful name of Jesus we pray these things. Amen.
Amen. Thanks so much, brother. If you're following the pledge of the flag.
I the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I appreciate everybody being with us this fine morning. Commissioner, what's going on? We're on precinct 1.
Well, we're on the final run for chip seal job on 1414 South and picking up the prime coat today and starting to heat that up, and we're gonna start tomorrow morning and should be done by Thursday afternoon. All things go the way they're supposed to.
Oh, they'll go ahead and they turn off. Well, that in precinct 2.
Today, gonna go out and pack some potholes and get the distributor truck ready for the prime oil tomorrow.
Yeah, we're gonna get them. Good deal.
And they're going up to Bangs, Allen's to pick up the brush cutter and did some major repair cylinders, but get it back home.
Okay.
And then try to get set up and everything ready to go for tomorrow. The chip spreader and the sweeper's already been moved up to Covington, so OTO up, so.
You guys got it going on?
So I'll have all 6 guys up there tomorrow helping Jim.
4 trucks, 2 distributor trucks, chip spreader.
That's no small job. You gotta go through 2 months.
Knock it out.
Should be pretty close.
It's gonna be a heck of a job. Appreciate you guys working together. What's happening in precinct 3 this morning, McMahon?
No, cleaning ditches, cutting brush and shredding, trying to save as much money as we can, make it the end of the year.
I appreciate that. Mr. Light, what's going on in precinct 4, sir?
We're cleaning the ditches out a little bit, and trying to get a couple of spots that are pretty bald, covered up where, when it starts raining and gets the burn ban off, and people won't be getting stuck out in the middle of the road.
Well, Jen must be living right. He got rained on yesterday afternoon.
Well, you know, the preacher had to add a few extra sentences for that side of it. I'll tell you that.
Thank you.
Give me a bit of shorter prayer.
Philip, how are things in IT this week?
Because last week we had some things accomplished last week. We got the live scanning, which is a fingerprint computer. We got it upgraded. Everything went very smoothly. It talks to our Odyssey system. It talks to PBS.
And we also again, at the sheriff's office, we had the camera service went down. Our vendor, stepped up in a major way. In my opinion, we've already got 2 new servers installed, configured, set up and running.
I'm so impressed with you guys. I got that done that fast. Really good job. Appreciate that. Final form, Rich Leonard.
Watching the weather yesterday, apparently we're not living right in our side.
Not equally either, to be honest with you.
But you got the other day, we didn't get.
Well, that's true. I did get 410 the other day that you guys did. But maybe you're all right.
It got all dark, cloudy, we went out, did the rain dance. The soda came out.
Maybe that's what scares you off. I mean, think about that.
But on a better note, we had a company coming in this week and did the full scale survey of the jail for that BDA. Warren City was quite impressed with their process. So we should have a report here probably for the next report on what it's gonna take to make that jail program work in there.
Awesome, great. Look forward to that. Good deal. What's that with ESD1 this morning, guys? I already gave you a burn ban, so I don't know what else I can do.
Burn ban's already here.
Yes, yes.
And I think from what we're seeing and everything else, that over the years, we've got a lot of people educated. And they're paying attention to what's going on and everything else. And
I'm really impressed. Yeah,
we're doing all we can do.
good deal. Glad to hear that. Glad you could do it this morning. Ms. Rachel, can you report from the office?
We're putting in open enrollment selections into our payroll system, so this payroll will be a little tedious. And ask for time sheets Wednesday afternoon, Thursday morning, so we can give a little start, so we have a holiday on Monday. And we need to have the auditor time to review our findings as well.
Okay.
So other than that, just budget season.
Good deal.
This meeting.
Yeah. Jay Blanket, anything in your part of the world?
Yeah, we've been really busy. Our JJP has started up. We've got 3 students and, unfortunately, we're seeing still a pretty consistent referral amount that's coming in. I just got back yesterday from Austin. I was down there at the Juvenile Justice Family Issues, hearing that occurred yesterday. So I'm gonna probably be on the road to Austin quite a bit this next legislative session. Just working with juvenile issues and, it's been busy, but that's what we do, so we're used to it.
You're the only person that I dread it when you say you do business just because of the nature of what you do. So but thank you for all you do for Earl County. Susan, anything in sheriff this morning before we get kicked off?
No, I have some copies of the budget report and do y'all want those now or?
We'll get to it on the agenda. Thank you though. All right, from this chair, I tell you about budget, but this is a meeting we're supposed to adopt. If you guys don't adopt it, I'm not correcting anybody, but I'm not reposting all that. That's just a lot of work. So we think we've got a pretty good project process down. We could use some improvements some places. We'll talk about that further. Otherwise, this has kind of been all encompassing, so I don't have a lot more to report. We've had some air conditioning problems over at Covington. The manufacturer has come out, or the representative has come out. And most of that's been fixed at this point. Apparently a power surge took out a board of some sort. That drives the, those units are multiple different zones in the same unit. I think they've got that corrected. Otherwise, it's kind of business as usual. Things are rocking along. So Nicole, anything you? No, okay, just it's only 17 years in a row. I just want to make sure. Kidding, she's awesome. All right, this time then we're going to move on to our agenda. Is there anybody here for open forum today? Maybe there's something you'd like to talk to the court about. It's either on the agenda or not on the agenda. If you would, please limit your comments to about 3 to 5 minutes in duration. And with respect, you please show respect to the court. Go once. Go twice. Okay, we're going to move on. The first item today is our consent agenda, and that's action on minutes, invoices, payroll, monthly report revenue disbursement, and voting for elected official trainings. If there's anything you guys will take off for individual discussion, please let me know. We'll do so. Otherwise, we'll entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion approved.
Motion is second to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstentions, motion carries. And there's no elected official for the system, so. Okay, so our first order of business this morning is hold a public hearing in Hill County's intent to enter into a tax payment agreement with Hubbard Energy Storage 2 LLC relating to a battery energy storage facility and equipment. At this time, this is a public hearing, and you may want to speak for or against neutral or just ask questions regarding this project. The project has been posted, it's known as the L1 Pitts Duty Solar 2. No, forgive me, wrong one, sorry. Wrong one. Reading off top of the page on the bottom, go ahead, Michael, I'm certain.
Well, this is Hubbard Energy Storage 2.
Correct.
It's a 100 MW battery energy facility. And battery energy storage facility. The projected capital investment is 115 million. The safety requirements that we require for any of them that have battery systems are contained in the contract. The contract contains $100,000 cash deposit that you all decided on for the road agreement. I don't see anything wrong with it.
No, I looked it over, now that I have it right in front of me, it's the form of the abatement agreement that we previously approved. I believe this project only takes up a small footprint too.
It is, it's like 150 acres.
Yeah, compared to some of the things we've seen, that this is relatively small footprint.
No, usually the battery energy storage doesn't need much. It's, but 150 acres gives you a buffer zone to it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Anybody that would like to speak for, against, or have questions at this time for a public hearing regarding energy storage project by Hubbard Energy Storage 2 LLC? Going to move along then. At this time, we will close the public hearing. The meeting was, public hearing was held and was closed at 8:42 a.m. We'll move on to number 2 in our action items, discussion of possible action approval of tax abatement agreement with Polk County Texas and Hubbard Energy Storage 2. So we have for us the tax abatement agreement that we previously approved the form, and we sent this out to the other tax entities. We posted the notice that we needed to, and the paper been on the board. So at this time, is there any questions regarding this document?
Make a motion.
Okay, so we have a motion, a second to approve a tax abatement agreement between Polk County, Texas, and Hubbard Energy Storage 2 LLC. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, any abstentions? Motion carried. Let the record reflect it's 4 in favor. Mr. Fulton, the one out of favor.
So you're gonna give us the tax money from that since you opposed it, huh?
Yeah, that's that works.
Yeah, and then you get to pay for all the decommissioning.
Well, we don't have any authority over that. That's public property, private property, I should say. Number 3 today is public hearing of the matter of proposed designation of certain property in unincorporated York County as reinvestment zone under chapter C 12 of the Texas Property Tax Code. This designation will allow for tax payment agreements to be entered into with the county and the owners of the property within the reinvestment zone. The zone will be designated as reinvestment zone number 19. So guys and gals, I got to sign this copy here. Sorry, say the copy. This now. Go ahead, Mr. Dixon.
This is Pitts Dudac Solar 2 LLC. It is the essentially a small extension of Pitts Dudac 1. It's the same area. It's on the land right adjacent to it. And it's a 30 MW solar energy production system. Approximately 21 acres old. It'll be known as RIS 19, Reinvestment Zone 19. Projected capital investment of approximately $32,585,000. And at that level, their abatement starts at 30% and goes down rather quickly. But it's the one that's already done out there or close to being done is just right beside.
Yes. They're right there, just south of Malone.
Since this is a different one, do they not? We don't have to give them the same abatement that we gave the first one?
Correct on this because the investment amount is lower. And we're creating a new reinvestment.
This is the
all-
new reinvestment.
That's
Correct. Remember, we started the policy of making those zones as small as possible, so we didn't get caught up in that trap again. So that this is outside of the current zones, they get to recreate this zone, and after recreation of the zone. We have to go through the whole process of action with approach form and tax abatement agreement, but yeah.
They give it a new lower.
Right, well, that in the form, the percentage schedule that you all adopted. It has ranges of investment. And what their range of abatement is for each of those ranges. And this is on the low end of the range, so it starts at 30% and goes down very quickly.
Yeah. It's 30% first year, 30% second year, 20% third, 20% fourth, 10% 5, 10% sixth. So,
And it's only 6 year term, so.
exactly, and it's in line with our fifth amended and restated tax abatement energy.
There are the guidelines.
So, good question.
And that zone, the other zone that has the other one, and I think it's expired this month.
Already?
Yeah,
Oh, wow, okay.
It was from 2019, so they only last 5 years. So
Okay.
sometime in August it expires.
Okay, I didn't realize it did not last so far.
Yeah,
Wow.
COVID and everything.
Yeah, time flew a little bit there. Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Thank you for that. Anybody else in the public hearing today for L1 Pitts Duke Solar 2 LLC that want to answer questions? Okay, not seeing anybody else for that. We're going to say that we have a public hearing this day. That public hearing was closed at 8:47 a.m. this morning. We're going to move on to number 4, which is discussion, consideration, and action on the creation and designation of a county reinvestment zone made subject to the public hearing is county reinvestment zone number 19. That's that 21 acres of change. Question. Second, have a motion and second to approve. Creation of county reinvestment zone made the subject of public hearings, county reinvestment zone number 19. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, call question, all in favor say aye. All opposed, any abstentions, motion carries. All right, so there's going to be 1 against and 4 for. So that brings us to number 5, which is discussion, consideration, and action of proposed form of tax abatement agreement with L1 Pitts Duke Solar 2 LLC. And directed the county judge to send notice of intent to enter into proposed tax abatement agreement to other taxing entities that have tax authority with regard to this property. So the stuff that goes on behind the scenes that you guys don't see a lot of, we do in our office. Mike's invaluable to us because he helps us, go over things, prepare documents. But ours is communicating with the paper on behalf of the county, posting notices, and then sending it to the other taxing entities, whether it be Hill College or one of the USDs or whoever it could be. So that's what that authority is. But as that being said, you have a copy of the tax abatement agreement proposed form, not approving the agreement today, just the form of it. And if you look through it, this is capital investment of $32,585,000. It talks about reinvestment zone number 4, is the other one, created in 2019. You have the abatement on the 3rd page of what we're looking at over a 6-year period, 30, 2020, 10. But most importantly, I think for everybody is the road use agreement that is subject to this. Why we do these things in the first place is not to subsidize these. It is to protect our investment in county roads. We have been, I will say, L1 Pitts has been a pretty good partner so far with this and lived what they said they would do. So we appreciate that.
They are.
Yeah, they've already signed it. Yeah, they're happy with it. So anyway, that's the main reason we do these things. Part of this is the agreement requires the developer of the project to escrow $100,000 in the county. And if there is damages that aren't taken care of, that's where that money comes from to do so. If the road is fine, perfect, in great shape when they're done, and then the money goes back to release it. I think most people like it better than bond, just pay bond premiums, so that money that comes back. Escrow, you do your job.
So, Judge, I think we found out
I did this.
Oh, yeah.
There's no way to really get it on.
Yeah, that's the other thing. So we see this language in a lot of places and start looking at it, people like, we're not bothering that. So, right.
Yeah, it'd have to be.
You know, something got mentioned a minute ago, it might be a good time to bring it up, because you can speak more intelligently on it, but about the decommissioning and changes in Texas law a couple of years ago.
Yeah, well, the utility code requires on these solar projects. For when they lease or buy from somebody for the instrument to contain specific language about their duty to decommission, meaning remove all of the stuff after they cease operations. So we don't have, early on, we had a decommission requirement, decommission requirement. And we don't have to have it anymore, this is state care of the utilities. So it's private property owner, and the private property owner has the right to enforce that decommission laws.
Any questions in the form of this agreement? Yes, sir. You've got a whole sentence on it, but when.
No, it's open forum.
No, it's not open forum. We're talking about proposed form tax abatement
I
agreement.
just had another question.
Okay, we'll have to get back to you towards the end, go to the open forum, but we'll hang around towards the end and you can take care of it. Holly, what you got?
I was just wondering, I don't know where y'all are gonna put the 100,000. But I hope that you find a place to put it where it earns at least 5%, and who gets the interest?
The company does. That's their money, and we're just holding it in escrow in case. In case for some reason something happens, they don't take care of it, we have that money set aside to do repairs. Thank you for your comments. Anything further on this proposed form tax abatement agreement today?
Make a motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second to approve the proposed form tax abatement agreement for the project known as L1 Pitts Duke Solar 2 LLC. Again, we're not approving the tax abatement agreement, just the form of it. So there's no signatures needed today. That being said, is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? And so we have one opposed, Colton. Motion carries. So where we are, we're going to sign this document though. This just me, you guys will get to sign. About to run this pen too. There you go, man. All right, number 6 on our item today is to discuss and approve employee wage status changes. So for this date, we have a new hire. This part, we're going to go on board Ms. Jessica Watson. You may have seen her. She's a new bailiff up here in the front. Local board, and then wage status changes. You've got the second page of that document, the first page of the wage status changes is actually the county CSCB. We don't set their salaries, we just note them as fiscal agent. So let you know that Katrina Bond and CSCB, you're gonna see a lot of CSCB in here. Again, it's simply a government action on our part to approve it, but they set their own wages. JPO, you also see in here, that is juvenile probation office. They again are set by the juvenile board, which I am a member. So again, you're just observing and reporting these. That is the last one. Mr. Flores. Perfect. Good deal. And we have Michaela Alvarado with County Attorney's Office. Remember, they've got the SB 22 funds, just like the sheriff did. And so they're making an adjustment there. And then Hunter Starkey at the sheriff's office is moving to deputy trainee. And congratulations, Mr. Starkey. And those are the employee wage status changes to the state. Motion, is there a second? Motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carried. There you go, sir. Okay, number 7, discuss interaction with Little Greenfield County Emergency Service District number 1. Gentlemen, we had a serious discussion behind the scene. ESD1 purchased over a year ago about possibly using the Huron facility. We kind of laid out what we're thinking will work. And we've got some basic terms, but I don't have a document in front of you because I need some input coming forward before we go much further. We're not looking to make money in this people, we're looking to cover costs. So what would it be is about 2,500 square feet in the back of the big Huron. Well,
In the front,
When I say in the back, I mean behind the house.
behind the office.
In the shop part, in the front of the back. How about that?
There you go.
That area, and we were talking about $500 a month. That was, that covers water, that's gonna cover utilities in there. And what they want to do is they want to put certain fire suppression apparatuses in there because it's right on that 933. It's actually almost, it's close to the center of precinct 1 that we exist. The other thing is obviously we're working together with the water battery. And there's been some neat developments on that front, so I'll tell you about that later when we speak more about it. But at this time, your thoughts on 500 a month and 2,500? I mean, I know that we're pretty good on that one, but I just need input from the rest of the commissioners.
Sounds good to me. I'm not, like I said, I'm trying to make.
So they'll cover the cost. They'll have to do some modifications to the building. They want to change the doors. That's going to be on the SD1 to do that because we didn't, I budgeted for it. But those current doors are, they want to put roll-up doors in there, right?
Right.
Yeah, and so instead of those big sliding doors, which I had no problem with that. They would wind up putting a fence on the inside of the building around the area that their trucks would be parked in. That way there's accountability there. No, the back's not heated. It's not keep calling it the back, the shop area of the big building here on it. It's not heated.
I call it the middle.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, everybody's got a different term for it. We're gonna have to define this at some point.
Do you need a second?
I've got measurements.
Yeah, we got measurements. What I'm asking for is not action on it today. I really needed to have a discussion so we can know what to put in the interlocal agreement, make sure everybody's good with it. We need to tell David needs instruction from us. So my take is interlocal agreement with ESD number 1. They're going to lease a area of approximately 2,500 square feet within the Huron facility. They are going to pay $500 a month in rent. They are going to be responsible for the upgrades to the doors on the outside of the building. What am I missing, guys?
Are we talking about the far east end or are we talking about up next door to the offices?
Up next to the offices where we talked about last time. Because remember that grade, that far east end is too steep, we think, to get the trucks in and out of it.
That's where we need to work with trees.
I've got a man coming down this afternoon that's gonna look at the feasibility of putting doors in.
Okay, good.
He's due quote between 1 and 3, so right now, I'm waiting on that to see what the doors, because what I seen yesterday, I went out there yesterday morning and looked at it, on that particular end, it's gonna be hard to put 2 doors in there.
Okay, I don't know anything about that.
Because of the beams and everything else, where they are, we're gonna have to reframe all the doors that goes in there and everything else.
Yeah, it was a good job.
So that's why we waiting on him right now.
Fair enough, but the basic terms, there's no objection from VSD on the basic terms. If we start drafting the document, that you good with that?
I'm
Okay,
good with that.
okay, good.
What about the emergency expediter there? Are they gonna go right directly into there? Or is there gonna be a room for?
There's gonna be a little room there. So it's not like the constable's office is gonna open into their spot. There's gonna have to be a little walkway area there. It can't be all the way up against that.
Right.
It's, if I remember, and I don't have measurements in front of me, I think it's very 6 foot, what we laid out last time. I may be wrong about that though, so don't quote me, but there's a space from the back of the building that you can exit out the back. We can't block those. So
To the glass door.
yeah, to the glass, door, which probably. That's the. You're putting it in the back. Different discussion. But
You know,
anyway,
one piece of tin also, it used to have a nail spot or something, that needs to be fixed.
I think that's part of what they're gonna find out with the doors and how that needs to look. Obviously, there's gonna be some excellent out there. It's really gonna come down to what they're going to have to play out regarding those doors, and I don't have a good answer to that yet, because they're waiting. They've done the footwork, they just wait on the answer themselves. So as soon as I have more, I'll bring it back to the board, but it's just a discussion I need to have with everybody to make sure we're on the same page working with VSD. So we're good, and so we'll get that moving forward. All right, we're gonna go on to discussion action for DM policy number 8. How much discussion do we need to have today?
A few things.
Okay, go on, I'm sorry, you're such a soft voice, people, and they can't hear you. Do you want me to read voting over there? Okay, great.
So a couple months ago, I brought you guys the proposed rates from the GSA website.
Yes,
And what I failed to do is narrow it down to the state of Texas. I proposed the federal rate. Susan has since informed me of how to narrow it down
Okay.
on the same website, just a place I was not familiar with. So we've been overpaying by just a couple dollars on our per diem rates.
Okay,
So Susan has found the current rates. We do have a couple questions because we're kind of in that limbo area
okay,
of what do we do with the ones we currently have because they are over,
okay.
and it's a taxable benefit.
Yeah.
And so we need to adopt for October what we want to do moving forward and how to handle the few we have.
Okay, so let's take the first part first. And so for October, the rate's gonna be 69, October 1?
68, is that what you have, Susan?
68. Okay, so 68, that's no problem with me.
And then we'll do the
Right. It's just to get it.
68.
So, all right, I'll make a motion that we adopt a, per diem policy rate of $68 beginning October 1, 2024 fiscal year 21.
And we'll prorate the first day and the last day.
Yes, and actually prorate the first day and the last day. So that's my motion. Is there a second? All right, any further discussion on that? Hearing none, I call a question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, any abstention, motion carried. Let's go back to the other issue then.
So we have a couple different locations that they're going to, as Susan noted in her email, Galveston, Arlington, and Las Vegas. Typically, we don't separate it out by where they're going, but Susan has done that legwork for us. And she's come up with $59 a day through September 30th. Galveston would be 64, Arlington would be 64, and Vegas would be 69.
Good.
And that would just be these per diems that are kind of in limbo, and then we would move to our reverse rate.
And let me get the girl in the room again. We don't send people to Vegas. That's not what we want to do. However, this conference is only there and the conference fees will waive. So we're paying for the hotel and we're paying for the per diem, but it's a chance for our technical people to get some expertise that's not available to us. So I don't want anybody to think that everyone starts sending people, but I guess we're out of state or in the city. That's not it. This is a one-time thing. We previously came to the court, asked permission to do this, and it's a full transparency. Just want to say that for the record again. I don't want everybody getting the idea that we're promoting gambling or something. So, anyway, so for those, I guess I don't want to say what's the best solution because it seems like there could be a couple here. But what's going to be the most workable from an administrative standpoint?
I mean, I'm okay with what Susan proposed, the 64 for Galveston, Arlington, and 69 for Vegas. It does deviate from our current policy, but our current policy is incorrect.
So my motion would need to be then to amend the current policy for fiscal year 20, per diem policy for fiscal year 24 to the aforementioned rates for Arlington,
Galveston,
and Vegas. And for Arlington, it was
64.
64,
Galveston, 64.
64, and Vegas 69. Okay, and that would be, of course, prorated first annuals.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
And then the standard rate would be the 59.
standard rate would be 59. And hopefully there's not too many more conferences before down in here.
Is that a motion?
It was the best attempt I could make.
Second?
I got three people talking about it. Sorry that I had y'all go through all this.
I'd rather be right, and look, I appreciate you found something that wasn't correct, totally correct, let's just fix it, that's, I mean, that's the way to do it.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, thank you guys for working, you guys don't know how many emails went back over behind the scenes from this. All right, anything further, Susan?
I don't know how many other predictions there will be for September, I wouldn't expect there to be many, but I guess, Austin is 64, or just use their high locality instead of just setting out those cities, just use the high locality rates.
So who propagates that again, I forget.
GSA.
So would it be easier if I made my motion?
I don't
to remove-
agree with GSA.
I think that's the way to go too, so I'm gonna amend my motion. I'm gonna amend my motion.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna get this. Yeah, I gotta do something, she hits me, man.
Well,
All
yeah.
Oh, man, so I'm gonna amend my motion, and that is to adopt the Government Service Administration's 2024 per diem rates for Texas for the remainder of fiscal year FY 24, and you will find those rates as, that's my amended motion.
Second.
Second still stands. Good deal. Any further discussion on this wildly exciting topic? Hearing now, I call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. I will go through that in a minute. We have, number 9, hotel discussion action on hotel motel occupancy tax. Guys, we've been collecting this for a long time, and frankly, I don't know about the viability of it anymore. We had a group of people from Hill County go out this past years ago, without any input from us, it seems like. And then we've managed it, but it's taken us a lot of administrative costs to manage it, and on the trajectory we're currently on, we're spending more than we're taking in. So whether or not we take action today, and I don't know what that action would be today, we need to have a conversation generally about how this thing works. You recall that the court at that time put it on tax assessor collector's office to collect this, and we have since done brought on a company called GovOS to help track the Airbnb, VBRO, short-term rental kind of thing. That's become a real pain because there's a large percentage of those that are not paying currently. I've had a conversation with Mr. Robert Myers at Superior Cell. He's supposed to be getting back with me about the possibility of collecting delinquent, if that's something they can do or not. Again, it's new territory for a lot of people. The short-term rentals, you see some, or at least I have seen some consternation, or at least some of the hoteliers are upset because they have paid into this fund, but then they feel like they're getting undercut by these short-term rentals. So I don't have a course of action going forward. I just need to have a public discussion about it. You know, we need to collect this tax if we're going to collect it. If we're not going to collect it, we need to do it. Those are the two things. Again, that's not as much information as you guys need to make a decision today, but I would recommend that you go out and talk to your hoteliers, and if you got one in your precinct, and say, hey, what do you guys think about this?
Is there a more efficient way to administer it that reduces cost or not?
That's a good question, and I don't think the answer to it all time is. We just altered from this. That's something we need to look at.
The statute is pretty specific. It says the tax assessor collects it and the county attorney enforces or audits on. And that was laid out in the initial legislation, which gave us, I think it's a may, not a shall. In other words, we may collect and enforce, but it's not mandatory. So it gives this governing body the option to do away with it or not.
Well, somehow the question's falling back to parts of it on the treasurer's office instead of the tax assessor collector's office. And I think that's one of the deals is that you've got some overlap, some efficiency can be created there by moving all that back into the tax assessor collector's office. But again, that's the conversation that we need to have about what we should be going forward in this.
What was the original thought to try to put it into the county?
Heads and beds, yes, sir. That was the original thought.
Yeah, I don't know that.
Yeah, you.
But with the rules on the website, that you cannot promote tourism if they're not paying the tax. I mean, let's take an example, the yard and the concert. That brings people to Hillsborough. That's gonna bring possible people renting motel rooms. But according to the rules that's been laid out, you can't put that on the website.
Well, that is part of the problem with the statute, because the statute says in the unincorporated areas, not corporate areas. So if it happens inside, and that's been a struggle since this thing started. If it's an event in Whitney, how do we fund paying for that? Because how do we prove we put heads in beds in rural Hill County? And the answer is, I can't, I don't have a good way of, yeah, I don't have a good way to do that.
So Judge, I think there's two different parts. There's the policy to collect, which is the unincorporated, but the website policy that I found in the county clerk's records, they can advertise all of the events. It's to promote Hill County events. It doesn't have to be in the unincorporated areas.
Okay.
So I think that might be the disconnect.
Yeah, so.
Absolutely.
I would say if there's a way to make it efficient and lower the admin costs where we don't see the revenues, we should move forward. If we can't, we should scrap it.
Understood. Okay.
And you just hope they're not collecting a fee and not paying us.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what we'll do is we'll get that document and we may need to take action on that document at our next commissioner's report that day to do what we need to do in order to give some direction. We'll go out for bids, since we've already got the money, whether, we collected last year. So what we normally do, we'll bid in October, after October 1st for this next fiscal year, for the website maintenance, for anything else we may do. And try to make it transparent as possible, so if anybody wants to participate, they can. But I agree, going forward, we need to make choice, is this gonna be done enough? Because right now, it's just taking a lot of administrative time in Boston, I don't know if there's any return on investment there. So, all right, we're moving along from that, I jump off the soapbox. And we're gonna move to number 10, to discuss and approve residential, non-residential contracts and interagency agreements. Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of year when Chief Lincoln comes with us with big piles of paper. Chief, what you got today?
Yes, so this is just our opportunity that we bring and present all of the contracts that we have. Currently have 17 contracts. I'm still waiting a few to come on board as well with some of those prepaid bets that I talked about on the post side of programs. And so I just need a motion and approval to approve these contracts. Short and sweet.
How much again is two bids we pay for all year long? How much does that cost us?
So last year we budgeted 146,000. And so the cost went up just slightly by $5 per day. And so that's why I reduced some of my budget, because they didn't actually charge us per day like the initial contract said that they could. And so again, I think this year they're probably going to, so I won't have that extra surplus, but we're paying, I mean, literally from detention expenses, we are ranging from 225 a day in some of our facilities all the way up to I think our highest is Bell County. And it's $380 a day.
Yeah, we have to have every available spot. The reason we have contracts with so many different facilities is you never know who's gonna have a bed when you need it. It's the bottom.
But I
It
really
is.
wish they'd get that in the reporter so people could see what the county is having to pay.
Oh, yeah. You know, I look at our every.
Yeah.
300 women?
So Bell County is $380 a day. And just to give you guys an example, 2 Saturdays ago, I was on call and I had one juvenile already in Denton County in one of our prepaid beds. They had 3 burglary rehabilitations, all 3 offenses involved firearms. So that's a mandatory detention. That's not one that I, as the chief, can authorize or not. That's a mandatory by legislation. And so we ended up having 1 go to Denton County and the 2 ended up going to Grayson County. And so, I mean, those are things like we started calling and I was like, okay, and they told me they could have up to 5 kids that were involved in that offense. So that morning I started calling and making all of those decisions. And so we were actually even going to pull out the kid that we had in Denton County if we needed to, because he was there on a violation of probation, if we needed that bed space. So it's having those 2 bed spaces has changed our ability completely to be efficient and effective, which is what we really want. But we're still having to go above and beyond because we just have things happening in the community that we don't expect. But yeah, Bell County is $380 a day if we have to detain there, and they are on my list.
So what is that total cost at room per year?
So it depends on how much we detain. So this year I had again just requested $100,000 from the county. So I did not request the whole 146,000 because I had that surplus in my budget from last year. So the county, what I asked for was $100,000 additional for those 2 prepaid beds.
But normally what's it cost?
146 has been changed, 146 plus.
I mean, you have to go to those other places that won't pay.
Oh,
It will vary depending on where we go. It depends on every facility has a different rate. And the other part that you have to consider too with that is then we're scheduling detention hearings, then we have to do the transport. If law enforcement's doing the initial transport and then we're on the road doing the other transports. One of the things too, with no longer having comp time, and we're having to pay overtime, I don't have very much of an overtime budget. So my officers, I tell them 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. And so the sheriff's office has been very gracious about those before hours and after hours transports. And so the cost really, I mean, it's just, you can look at it per bed, but when you really talk about like the time that really goes into that and in transporting, because we'll have to pick up from all the way up in Grayson County. So it's a significant cost that y'all have invested in us, and we are beyond grateful. My staff will tell you, I think David would agree that having those 2 beds has changed our ability to do what we really need to do. And my staff is so beyond grateful. Like when I told them that you guys approved that last year, they were just like, this is the most incredible thing that's ever happened. It has, it really truly has.
Do you know how much you spent last year on?
I think our total last year was 68,000.
That's with all of them, I mean.
yes, that's with everything, yes.
That's pretty cheap, compared to $200 or $300 a year.
Well, and it would not have been that cheap had Denton County not,
Yeah.
had Denton County fell through with their full agreement of us to pay for those two prepaid beds. We would have been over 200,000 easily. But because the chief and I worked that out and he was like, let's just see how this year goes. It worked really well. He did not charge me for per day, which is remarkable. I suspect I'm gonna get charged this year and that's okay. It's perfectly okay because at least we saved the county some money this year.
We're done. Appreciate that.
I looked at the sunset schedule a couple of weeks ago, and TJJD's not on the 2025 schedule, but they're on the next one, and I can definitely see them getting hard look to be sunset.
Oh. Okay.
We will. Yeah, we had a pretty significant hearing for our TJJD state facility side yesterday. There was a Department of Justice report that came down that reflected some really negative things that occurred. Of course, it was a lot during the COVID times, which I think all of us experienced that. I'm going to say, officially on the record, our new leadership at TJJD is remarkable. Her and her team are going above and beyond. I actually went and visited the Gainesville facility. I plan to visit some of the other state facilities. And I was beyond impressed. I don't know that I would have recommended commitment for a use to TJJD at this point. But after going to Gainesville and seeing what I saw myself, and we interviewed 6 total kids at the facility, plus talked with staff. I was just beyond impressed with the work that has been done. It has been significant. I just don't know if it's too little too late, not based on, because she's the new administrator. But there's significant work happening, but it was a difficult hearing yesterday to be part of, but I felt like I needed to be there in order to represent the North Texas region as well as our President's Council, and then most importantly Hill County for what we have going on. But I can tell you, if you guys ever wanted to tour one of those secure facilities, they would welcome that, and I would be happy to go along with you. It was just a really remarkable experience. I was blown away with just the culture. It was very positive. And contrary to what you see in that Department of Justice report, I saw so many wonderful and good things happening. It's not perfect, obviously. Anytime you have a secure facility, it's not going to be perfect, but they're making incredible strides. But I think we will be under sunset yet again.
Well, gentlemen, any questions, any further questions or discussion regarding approval of residential, non-residential contracts and interagency agreements between JPO and their commission? Motion and second to approve the the residential, non-residential contracts and interagency agreements. Is there any further discussion? Thank you for such an in-depth discussion. We really appreciate all you do. We know it's long hours you work, your people work, and you do have value.
I appreciate y'all's support so much, and I always intend to be very short, but and I always love you guys. If y'all don't want to go to lunch, let me know.
Education is always good.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, well, I'll call the question and all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstentions, motion carried. Number 11 is an easy one. Discuss and or action grant agreement with rural law enforcement salary assistance program. I'm asking for you guys to allow me to sign off on the grant to get $350,000.
Second.
So that one quick. So motion and a second to approve the county judge to sign the grant agreement with rural law enforcement salary assistance program. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Number 12 is discuss and approve purchase order of Hill County Commissioner Precinct Number 2 to purchase 2 2025 Western Star trucks to be paid with FY25 budget in the amount of $275,716 through the tips taps. So what we're doing here is, you heard that right, FY25. We're not going to pay for it to FY25, but the idea is to issue the PO now to put the hold on them, to get them at this price before they go about.
Correct.
Thoughts?
Make a motion.
Second.
Oh, I got it. That should try.
Make a motion.
Jeez. All right, we have a motion and a second to approve a purchase order for Hill County Commissioner Precinct Number 2 to purchase 2 2025 Star trucks. FY25 budget.
It would have happened anyway.
16 tips that 5.
He's the biggest spender for the new budget.
No, he's already busting it.
You know, and they're gonna do nothing but go up, but the way I ordered these trucks without all the extra hydraulic kits on them and a standard transmission saved $20,000 per truck.
Okay, so you went back to standard transmissions on these.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good deal. All right, well, any further discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, any abstentions, motion carries. So, grant agreement down here, this is the printed version of it, I will get you a signed copy, actually, when I get the time, I kind of I'll forward it to you. So we have discussed and approved bonds, we have one bond today for Edmund P. It's a notary, I'm sorry, two bonds, Edmund P. and Cassie Harris, these are the notary public commission bonds.
So make a motion approved.
Motion is second to approve the aforementioned bonds. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstention, motion carries. Number 14, discussion action of the 9-month budget report.
Oh, yeah, that would be so.
Thank you. Thank you.
See. And here's the PO for the truck, or, well, it's not the PO, but the quote, so maybe you'll have that for your file and code.
Everybody an opportunity to go through it. You see page 1 is covered, page 2 is the actual beginning balance, 24 budget fiscal year for recapitulation page. The second page, 9-month report is fiscal year budget report for second quarter, 6/30/22. It should basically have the one revenues year to date and revenues prior years. So we give you a comparison on those expenditures year to date, and expenditures prior year. The next page goes into the actual general fund revenues. You can see where they run as a percent of budget, but it's current budget, current period, then year-to-date actual collections, and then budget balance and percent of budget collected. In lieu of tax, we're a little bit under, that one's kind of at the mercy of the feds, what they send you. So if you see a bracket, obviously that's something that's a little under you. And some of these, like the 100, 340, 102 EMC radio, they're a little under at this point. We've collected that since I believe, so we should be in good shape, which is we're talking about.
The HS good, that means we got more
Oh, forgive me, I'm
than
not
the
with this.
rest of right?
Justin's not thinking that. I'm sorry, it's doing more than good. My apologies. Well, that's even better. So, the next page, you will see constables fees, you'll see JP fees, justice of the place fines, and then the miscellaneous and other fees that we've taken in. The following page of revenues is the last page of our 100 fund. Sorry, can you word that for a second? And you can see how we've gone through everything from miscellaneous interest to sell fixed assets that are transferred. The next page, you've got your revenue summary for the year from ad valorem taxes, collected 95.87 through 9 months of this year. And then other taxes, we collected 80.62 through the 9 months of this fiscal year. To go through the rest, we come down to the general government expenditure summary. That's every department in the general, from myself to the justice systems, the district judge, district clerk, all of those. The next page holds the public safety. That would be everything from the sheriff to the environmental officer, the one person management. Corrections is there as well, Health and Human Services and Community and Economic Development, which we've not spent much as we thought we would. Yeah.
In terms of just looking over the close, noticed that in that over expenditures, you kept the same numbers that we did last year. We don't now know about what we're going to spend at least on the first year.
Well, let's have that during the budget workshop discussion. This is just a 9-month report. So yeah, anyway, moving along on that, you know, in your last page is the current statistics for fiscal year 2000, October 1, 23 through September 30 of 24. And it shows basically our sales tax collections. So the general funds, we budgeted 3.4 million, for FY 24. And then you see the total between the general fund, the 8% that goes to indigent health, and the percentage that you broke out to the commissioners for, of $4,165,501. So, that's way ahead of where we were previous years. Just the sales tax has really taken off, especially since the legislature in 19 put it back to the point of origin. You're seeing all of those money stay in Hill County. And that is the 9-month budget of Cook County.
Make a motion.
Sure.
Second.
Motion is second to return to the 9-month budget report for Hill County fiscal year ending the third quarter budget report ending 6/30/24. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all questions, say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstention, motion carried. Number 15 is the hearing on budget. We have gone through multiple budget hearings at this point, a lot of number. We posted in the paper, we made all necessary publications on both the website of Hill County and in the Reporter newspaper. So at this time, we're going to hold a public hearing on the budget. And this public hearing is for anybody that wishes to make a comment, have questions, or against, anything in between. Again, as we respect you, please show respect to the court, but we open the floor. Anybody here for a budget hearing?
Discrepancies.
That's okay. Nothing good happened. What you got?
It's page 64,
Page 64.
it's under 911 dispatch.
Okay.
We do have a part-time employee and we did not capture a formula.
Ah,
So that number for part-time wages should be 43,225.
okay. Part-time wages then will be 43,225. All right.
He doesn't work on much, but it is budgeted.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
yeah, it needs to be corrected, obviously. I'll let everybody get a second to look through it, do what they need to do. Sorry, I got to see it last night till midnight, again, started at 5 o'clock this morning, so I kind of generally idea what I'm looking at. Anybody paying attention to the first page of the budget, me and Chrissy went over this, and it's how the software calculates it. It makes a statement, this budget will raise more total property taxes than last year's budget by $1,213,000, remember that number, or 5.96% of that amount, $1,002,036 is to raise your new property. How do you raise more money than you collect? So anyway, we went back and forth over time, she believes that is the correct number, and I'm going with her, she got the software, not me. So anyway, that is the budget, gentlemen. A lot of hours put into it.
You're very apples to oranges and value. Apples to oranges and value.
You're right, yeah.
Construction and all the things.
It's an interesting calculation, and I don't profess to know all the ins and outs of it, for sure. Oh, and you will see that we've added, as we wanted, the tax worksheets on the back pages. So we have first the tax worksheets for general, and then second for the bridge. You see Mrs. Hightower assigned those as required. So we believe that all the legal requirements at this point have been met on this document. I can't find anything that we haven't done. And
So this is an opportunity to make a last ditch effort for our budgets, our own department budgets.
I love everybody, and I'd like to say whatever you want to, but I'd rather not modify too much at this point. But please, I don't want you
And
to.
for the record, responding to those that I came here and asked for an extra employee for our office,
Yes, ma'am.
anticipating what's coming next year with the new sheriff. Address that elephant in the room.
Yes, ma'am.
I envision without help, we're setting ourselves up for some failures, and I'm not prone to that. And I don't work 7 days a week, all night long. These dockets are, David can tell you, it's busy, it's crazy busy. I just envision that that's gonna continue. If we don't get ahead of it, it's gonna be a challenge, and I know I'm not the only elected official that's feeling these pains. But I've been tasked with an enormous responsibility to provide support for reporters. And I wanna do that to the best of our ability. My biggest challenge is that I also have 4 new employees that I'm trying to get trained up in school with all these things, and it's not something you can learn after you're 6 years out of it every day. At least in this capacity as district clerk. We have 4 prosecutors in the DA's office and 2 in the CA's office, so those folks are extraordinarily busy, and I feel like when January gets here, we're only gonna see these numbers exponentially increase. And for every defendant or criminal that we arrest, there's a host of paperwork that goes along with it. And the reporting requirements is extraordinarily taxing. As I said in our budget hearing, we're training into data analysts for the Office for Administration and the Texas Judicial Council. And on and on and on.
Agreed.
So
I wish there was a way to give it to
I'm
you.
willing to compromise, I'm gonna take away the part-time line, I don't take the county insurance, and if I did, you would have to pay for that. Irrespective, so. I mean, I feel like. I'll make some compromises to make that happen, but I implore you, just for the record, if nothing else. If my office becomes remiss without this being granted, then at least I can say I said my piece.
Appreciate you saying your piece, and I wish there was room to do this, but I think yours is a very valid request. We're gonna put in a budget this year that burns $400,000 out of our unbudgeted reserves. We need to do. We've got too much sitting in unbudgeted reserve at that point. But we've really got to get some of our under expenditures under control so we can fund projects like yours. And I think your office does a wonderful job. Please don't think that's a code you. You do a good job. It's just overall, we've got some holes that we need to plug so that next year there's some people that need to be added. If the workload continues to get pushed every year from the state of Texas down to us. And it's just, we're the credit card for the ledge. It stinks, but that's how our relationship is. They're the dominant partner with the subservient partner. Sometimes you don't even feel like a partner, just a kid being told what to do. So, yeah.
Since you're intending to do a salary benefits survey again, could they look at that during that time when we do that?
I don't want to make any promises about that again, other than we're going to do it, because last time was a bit of a disappointment, to be frankly with you. It did a lot of what I wanted to do, and that was good, but there's a lot of things I think were left undone, knowing more about the process now. I feel that I don't know if they're going to recommend adding people that would be looking at management structure. That's not something we've contemplated, but if that's something you do, I'm asking about that or looking into that. But again, it's where we're at this year. Most commissioners think.
We've committed to revisit. I think that's what we're going to follow through with that and see what the result is and act accordingly on fiscal ability.
Yeah. I'm not trying to drag this out. I'm just trying to give everyone an opportunity to say a piece. All right. Anything else we're hearing on the proposed FY25 budget?
There's what I brought before.
So that's intention. We're going to have to do a couple of things. One of it is overtime after October 1, Sheriff's Office will come back to this body and ask for overtime before they expend it. I made a statement in court. I know it didn't make the sheriff happy, but that's unfortunate. If the expenditure that's over the budget line, I'm going to vote against going forward. I've got to get that under control. Look, Scott, it's not in you by any means whatsoever. So I don't want it to be personal. I respect you and John and for what we've done with what you got. Man, we got to plug the what's down there. We got to get it under control. And I know you're doing what you can. I appreciate that. That being said, going forward, we have to put the no more than 1/12 language, that's required by the code since he did not win his primary. We're open to those suggestions. We're open to doing, but it's budget management. Oh, bless you. It's budget management on our part. We're not trying to make life more difficult. We're just trying to ensure that things work out the way we need them to budget wise, because we just don't have enough community this year. And again, part of that's because of the raises last year. Remember that has carryover effect for this year. That was money taken off the table. That's fine. That needed to happen. We clearly needed to happen because it solved a lot of our issue turnover. I mean, that's just numbers speak for themselves. And it's actually, I mean, Martin had a job open for like a year for a CDL driver and couldn't find how we can hire those people. We've been able to retain and train employees. And I think going forward in the future, we're going to have to do this. I don't know if I want to do it every other year on salary survey, but we need to do at least every third year. I just don't think that the one we did last time, knowing what we know now, was as good an effort as we could do. I don't think that we did a good enough job communicating to office holders the importance of some of the parts of participation in it. I think that we need to do a better job of that. And I think a lot of lessons were learned. So all that being said and done, yeah, we've got some contingency set aside for overtime, no doubt about it, but we're going to require it. I've got it set up at this point, Commissioner, vote for this. But hey, when we go to that number, we're going to come back here and ask for it and justify it. So
Where, I guess I'm just one from the standpoint of, you know, we knew going into this, we didn't know what the numbers were gonna be. We could have figured it out based on the comp time, with the comp time that we had approved the previous year, but we chose to do the 2025 thousand for each of the
we looked at it as a management. We looked at it as a management issue. And we don't know how the next guy is going to manage. We don't, is he going to make it mandatory overtime in a week for all his employees and burn the budget up? I don't know what he's going to do. Hopefully he does right with the taxpayer. I'm sure he will. But those are questions that we have too. You know, when that money's out there and it's out of our hands in the budget, then it's just wherever it goes. And that's a problem for us because it can create a bigger liability on the back end than what we just budgeted. And we're seeing that already. So we're new to the overtime policy. We're still filling our way through it. We think that's the way we want to keep things. We don't want to go back to comp time, but we're going to have to manage our way through this so that it's not becoming an unfunded liability for us.
I understand, but the way I see it is we're going to get 3 months of this budget. And then, so I think by doing what you're proposing, then it's adding another burden to the Sherco Act that I don't think is fair.
I appreciate your point of view.
Would you make an amendment for the 3 months for this back, and then after that, he has his own.
I'm not willing to do that. And thank you, though. I appreciate your point of view, and it's a valid point of view. I get it. It's you know, we're charged with the budget, with managing the budget, with doing what we need to do to keep things within budget. And you know, hopefully in the future, like you said, hopefully in the future we get to see how everything's going to play out. And again, not knocking anybody, but the unknown, I just don't know, and I don't want to set that precedent here in one. But thank you.
I get it. I just don't want to be hampered with that.
No, I got you, and I understand your position, and thank you for it. Anything else on the budget here? Going once, going twice. We're going to say that we're not hearing the budget. The budget hearing is closed at 9:37 a.m. Next item is going to be discussion action as a result of this budget hearing. You guys got it in front of you. I'm going to ask you to take a vote on it. I'm going to ask you to take a roll call vote on it. What a roll call vote is, each member has to vote. So if there's a motion and a second, I would appreciate that. If not, we'll figure out what we're going to do from there.
Like motion approved budget.
Motion and second to approve the proposed fiscal year 2000. I make a motion to approve the annual budget for fiscal year 2025. She makes a really good point about using the word she's called state tax today without saying that. So
Keep them honest.
that's it. So we're gonna have a roll call vote on this, and then of course we do tax rate roll call vote. So at this time, as is my tradition, I would call my vote first. So you people don't think I'm leaving you out to dry. I vote in the affirmative. Commissioner Holcomb, how do you vote?
Affirmative.
Commissioner Crumpton, how do you vote? Commissioner Hawkins, how do you vote? Commissioner Lake, how do you vote? Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Number 17, this is not required this year, but we're doing it anyway. Apparent transparency, that's the hearing of the tax rate. Did anybody here come to talk about the tax rate today? What happened to Ken? Oh, no. He was there a minute ago. It seemed to sneak off on me. All right, going once, going twice. We're gonna say that we held a hearing on the tax rate and we closed that hearing at 9:40 AM on this 27th day. And discussion action on tax rate. Is there a motion and a second to approve the tax rate as proposed?
For the record,
Yes.
the tax rate has been lowered at 3 cents, correct?
Correct. For the no new revenue rate, we took in an additional almost 6% revenue, but it dropped the tax rate by 3
You know,
cents.
just so if anybody's listening,
Yeah,
we have lowered our tax rate.
yes, we're taking in more money, but lowering the tax rate.
Yes.
Yes. So.
So,
Yeah.
We have a motion in a lot of seconds. I like that. That makes me feel better about things at the moment. So we have a motion and a second to approve the aforementioned tax rates. We have a total proposed property tax rate of 0.40587. That's composed of a general fund of 0.345807 and a road and bridge of 0.060064. The no new revenue rate is the same, so that's where we're at for this year. At this time, I guess I get down to a call question. All in favor, say aye. Record vote, I'm sorry, record vote. County Judge Lewis votes aye. Commissioner Crumpton, Commissioner Hall.
Aye.
Commissioner Crumpton,
Aye.
Commissioner Hawkins, Commissioner Lake. The amount of weight that was just lifted off my shoulders is huge. Thanks, guys, appreciate it. This is a long process to get this done. I can't, not that I do all this, it's, you know, Susan and Rachel and the sheriff's office and you guys and everybody come together to do this. This is the hardest part of this job. There's some ugly part of this job, don't get me wrong, but this is the hardest part of the year. So I appreciate everybody's help, all the long hours we put in it. I know that we have vibrant discussions and sometimes we disagree. It's never personal. It's a situation where just all got different ideas of what the best is for the county. So thank you again for everybody for making this year work well, and I do appreciate it. At this time, we're gonna move on to number 19, which is discussion and approve certifications of revenue. Our auditor, Ms. Swin, gave us some certification of revenue. Yes, yes. Rachel, what's coming up with that, do we need to redo the per diem policy?
I'll have a blank one, I will go through it out now that we've approved rates and I'll bring it.
Awesome, thank you, appreciate it. Okay, so, you'll have to be packed, forgive me, I gotta take a sip of water. Too many hours. Okay, so let's go through today's certification revenues. We have first certification revenues and of course without budget moving side. Precinct 2, FM lateral sell fixed assets trade in BOMAC. You got somebody to take that thing?
Yeah.
You better go to
RDO,
church on Sunday doing that to somebody.
RDO took it.
What did they give you for, $5-10?
No, 51,000. This was done a long time ago.
So, all right, so we have a total of.
They still haven't resold it yet.
They-
They still have it.
It's like that time Danny bought a sort of backhoe with only 3 wheels on it. I just kind of said, okay, that's interesting. Went on about my business. Somebody can think of me. So, precinct 2, Reliable has received funds from trade and sale of equipment in the amount of $51,150. For precinct 4, FM lateral contributions for Hill County Road 4240, Hawthorne land in the amount of $34,500, and that was for repair of HCR 4240. The precinct 2 has, that's budget amendment. So those are the 2 certification revenues this morning.
Second.
Motion and second to approve aforementioned certification revenue. Any discussion? Hearing none, I call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstentions? Motion carries. That brings us on to budget amendments number 20 today. And our budget amendments for this day, precinct number 2. Sell of fixed assets. They're going to add that 51,950 we certified a second ago into their certificate. Okay, sell of fixed assets on the revenue side of things. On precinct number 4, on the revenue side, we're going to add that 34,500 to contributions and FM lateral. And then on the expenditure side of the house, we will put that 34,500 into construction material, and that's a 214, 315, 3115 line item. You will see on a transfer from general road and bridge and jury fund, general fund transfer to general road and bridge and jury fund. Forgive me, I need to say it clearer than I did. And you're looking at, we're going to subtract 125,000 from contingency, which had a budgeted amount of 500,000 in it. And then we're gonna add 100,000 to non-departmental, and we're going to add 25,000, so non-departmental 9229, and then the transfer 9,200, we're gonna add 25,000 too. We have next, in the, FM Lat Road Bridge FM Lat Road 4, bridge and infrastructure line. We're going to subtract 6,000 from bridge and infrastructure, that's, the 204, 4103, and we're gonna add that 6,000 back to the 214, 4103. Does that make sense? We're moving it from FM to road bridge. And that, gentlemen, is are the proposed budget amendments for this day. Motion approved. Motion second to approve. Is there any discussion regarding these proposed budget amendments? Hearing none, I shall call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstentions? The ayes have it, the noes no, and we passed paperwork now. Gentlemen, again, thank you very much. I know we've met a good bit. It's kept you away from your duties on the road. I don't need to do so. It's just this is as important as anything we do. So thank you for your attention to it. If there's anything else, please let us know. But otherwise,
Make a motion to adjourn.
motion second. Okay, so I've got to modify that one page, and then we're good to go. I do need the VIT